Well, first of all, thank you for inviting us. I see a connection actually with the presentation from Virginia. I think we are mainstreaming a lot of things of the recommendations that you put on regarding the sustainability issues on our tourism policy. And basically, I'm going to start and I'm going to run a little bit on this, but because I think it's important to give you the framework. Why are we in Portugal tackling sustainability measurement? First of all, because it was part of our strategy. Our strategy launched in 2017 for the next 10 years, defined sustainability as the DNA of the strategy, and defined basically that tourism will be the vehicle for economic development within the country. And with a strong focus on sustainability, tackling on specifically dispersal of tourism demand all over the country, because we have, I think, all mature destinations have, a strong concentration of demand in a few places. What we want to do is spread out the benefits of the tourism throughout the territory. So basically, we have, for the first time in our that I know in the strategy, we have defined specific goals to achieve in 2027 in the three sustainability pillars. So we have economic goals. We want to keep growing in terms of number of tourists, but we want to grow more in terms of the value that stays in the destination. So we want to reach 26 billion euros of total revenue in 2027. When you go to social and the social sustainability is a very important, very critical thing here in our strategy. The first one is to deal with skills. We are, I think, like everywhere, tourism is not a high-skilled sector. What we want, we have a large strategy here to boost the qualifications of the people employed, and also with that improve the salaries and improve the quality of life of people that work in the sector. Seasonality is one specific issue for ourselves, and why do we put it in the social pillar? Because we believe that seasonality is the highest enemy of the quality of the employment within the sector. Because this is issue where we have seasonality issues, we have employment issues. And the last but not the least, the locals have to be part of the process and have to be happy with the level of development that we have. And then finally, we want our companies to cope with sustainability best practices in terms of energy, water, and waste management. Okay, so but we believe when the government launched the strategy, we basically, as a research body, we had a problem, which is we have goals there that we're not measuring in a systematic way. So basically what we've done, we've set up and we work like today, we work like a data hub in terms of data that we get. So we have the traditional data produced by institutional partners, but we also put together new kinds of data to foster the system. So more than statistics offices or Bank of Portugal data, we have data from fiscal authorities regarding the balances of the companies. We have data from airlines, from bookings and reservations. We have data from credit cards. We have data from also sustainability indicators that we've set up a system. Sorry. Behind, okay. How do we do it? Every data here is public. So we have two platforms that we kind of deliver the data for the people. We have one open data platform, which is called Travel BI, where we put all the reports and all the data in a very open way. And we also developed last year geodata platform. So I was here in Virginia and said we're there and we're learning a lot. And this year, for example, we've seen the advantages of having geodata almost in real time for taking decisions in 1 week for crisis management that we didn't have in the past. So moving. So this will be available for everyone. This is basically the indicators that we are working on the economic side, on the social side, on the environmental side. And these are the data sources that we are using. I don't have a lot of time, so I'm moving into this. This is our platform. I think there's a video here. Yes, there is. This is basically our data platform for...
You want it to run while you're talking?
Yes, please. But it shouldn't be black. Okay, don't worry. Should be working. It was working. Definitely. Well, never mind. We can skip to our strategy. What happens? We have a national strategy. We've designed a lot of indicators at national level, but what we believe is decision making is becoming more and more local. So what we need to do actually is to train the destination managers at regional and local level to use data to take decisions. This is something that it's not common because most of the destinations are now facing problems of congestion and so on because they didn't manage for a long time. So now we have an imperative of managing, and we have to, in a fast way, to teach them how to use data, to make them data-driven destination managers, and to work with the community, academic community, to do that. So the word here is to empower destinations to take decisions and to use data. What are we trying to build in Portugal? A network of sustainable tourism observatories in each one of our regions, and we have here some cases around. So the idea, first of all, is to connect one thing that sometimes is not connected, which is national policy and regional and local policy. The alignment here is critical. We used the NUTS2 approach. So we have our destinations in Portugal quite defined in administrative terms. So we have each one DMO for each one of the NUTS2. So that's where we are going to put the observatories working. We also believe that this is a desired process. And why do I put a desired process? Because I've tried to do it 5 years ago and they didn't desire the process. Now they are more and more desiring the process. So is learning from mistakes. Also, we believe that, and that this was a discussion that we're having this morning in the breakfast session. We also believe that we have to have a common set of indicators to every region so we can compare ourselves and we can have a kind of roadmap in terms of growth. And then each one of the regions, depending on their product, depending on their characteristics, they drive a little bit more deep in terms of their specific needs. But we start with a common framework of indicators to all regions. And the indicators, basically we use UNWTO guidelines and European Commission ETIS guidelines for defining those indicators. Some of them would be great to have, but there is no data. So we are practical in terms of the approach that we do. We use the data that we have that is comparable. So keep it simple, no complications. The idea here is to design benchmarks, because one thing is to say we have 37% of seasonality rate. What does it mean actually? If I don't compare with others, if I don't compare with others similar to me, what does it mean? And finally, the thing I would say, the basic role of observatories also is to work with destination managers, teach them about the meaning of the indicators, and try to make them used at the decision-making level. This is one thing that at national level I can assure you that we do every time. So every decision now is monitored monthly in terms of the data that we use. I don't have a lot of time, do I? So this is a kind of a roadmap of what we're doing. We've started with one region. Why Alentejo? Because Alentejo was under a certification process with Biosphere. So we believe that that was the first region that was totally focused on sustainability, that we could set up an observatory. We have set up, and we have our team here today. And it was the first one to join the UNWTO INSTO network. And now we are working with 3 more observatories that are being set up. One in the Algarve. We have already a protocol done, and the submission to UNWTO network will be in the short term. Azores is already done, and we are under the process of approval from you guys. And the Central region, which is the center of Portugal region, will be the next one. And I'm just 10 minutes ago, I've just initiated a process in the island of Madeira. So we are almost there in terms of the running process. Challenges here, just to run up my presentation. Well, the first one is to integration in the decision-making process. When we go to regional and local level, we have actually to take decisions based on data. This is not an easy thing, because some decisions are taken based on perceptions, like there's overcrowding, let's take a measure against Airbnb or something, sometimes without data to inform. And sometimes we make mistakes, and the problems that we cause in terms of employment, in terms of lack of investment and so on, will be worse because we are not measuring the impact of what we're doing. The second one is data availability. It's not an easy thing. We are now working at NUTS2 level, which is nice because we have the frameworks from Eurostat that provide us a lot of indicators. But then if we want to go a little bit down, it's harder. If you go to under municipality level, it's even worse. And that's one thing that I would connect here to the need of integrate new sources of data. Because when I think about, for instance, a congestion problem within the city, we cannot use the municipality data at large level. Why? Because it is one street, it's one square, it's one neighborhood. So we must invest in new sources of data to help us to define specifically where the problem and how can I manage the problem. So use mobile and geo data. Also the financing issues is something that we're struggling, because I've tried to do these kind of exercises of observatories in the past, and the problem is, how do I maintain them? Because you hire a team, you train the team, and then you have a break of EU funds, which is typically the funding system for this. And if you have a break in terms of financing the system, all things goes down. The destination managers don't believe in you because the process went down. So it's something that we have to need to work on in terms of maintaining this problem. The last but not the least, a message that I would leave it to you is, as we are integrating new sources of data, as we are working with environmental data and so on, which is something that we are not used to, the skills and analytic skills of your team are quite important. How can we deal with it? How can we integrate that? How can we, and the solution for that is, we need to change the way that we work. We cannot think that our unit, our office, have the ability to deal with everything. The approach that we are trying to do in Portugal is a network approach. So I work with economics and data science universities that help me to drive with mobile data. I work with telecom operators that have the knowledge to do on that. I work with environmental agencies that have expertise of the meanings of the process, and then I work to the practitioners in the tourism sector that actually have to drive in the end of the day the decisions. Okay, thank you very much. Happy for any question. Thank you.